President Trump's foreign policy team facing a key, potentially explosive test in Ukraine tonight. Ukraine is warning it will soon send more Navy ships through the Kerch Strait in defiance of what it says is a Russian blockade of the key waterway to the Black Sea. The Kerch Strait was where the Russian Navy seized 24 Ukrainian sailors last month, sparking an international crisis. Now, as of now, the Russians are still holding those sailors. Ukraine has been amping up its military response for days now with missile tests and sending troops to the border, also declaring martial law. Russia says it's all just politicking by our next guest. We're joined now by Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko from the presidential building in Kiev. Mr. President, welcome.
Thank you very much indeed, Shannon.
So let's start there. Russia says that this is political in nature. In fact, the lower house of their parliament, the State Duma, this is the report on them. It says that they approved a statement Tuesday accusing the Ukrainian president of a reckless and cynical attempt to change the situation in his favor and a desire to cling to power at any cost at the threat of a full-scale war, obviously referencing the upcoming election in March. Your response, sir?
I think Russia behavior is absolutely the same since aggression against my country in the year 2014. When Russia launched illegal annexation of the Crimea, and now on the 25th of November in the neutral water of the Black Sea for the international, open for the international navigation, the 10 Russian military vessels opened the unprovoked targeting fire against Ukrainian military boat, tugboat, and wounded 3 of my soldiers and injured another 3 soldiers during the storming operation in the neutral water. Mr. Putin, this is the act of aggression. Mr. Putin, this is the war. And this is not a joke and not an incident and not a crisis. Because your regular forces under the Russian flag attack in the international water Ukrainian military vessel.
And you have written a piece in the New York Times where you talk about the fact that it is time for the West, for democratic countries, as you outline all of the recent actions by President Putin, that it's time to stand together and stand up to him, because without that, the aggression will continue, will get worse. There are the Baltic states that could be in the same situation that you had with Crimea, and there are European and U.S. interests as well. The U.S. took a step earlier this year under President Trump to provide Javelin missiles and launchers that you all desperately wanted and needed. The U.S. and NATO have denounced these recent actions by Mr. Putin. What more specifically would you like to see? What do you need from these other countries?
The reaction of the world was quite strong, but this is the statement. This is the words. And for the Putin action, it's absolutely not necessary for us to act. And for example, first thing, we should have a NATO presence in the Black Sea, not allowed to move or to occupy Black Sea and Azov Sea region by Russian forces, which is happening now. The Azov package of sanction, I think it was a very good statement for the State Department in the United States that it would be absolutely positive if, as a reaction of the act of aggression in the Black Sea, European Union together with the United States make a sanction against Nord Stream 2 to stop, because nobody knows where tomorrow Putin make a decision to protect Russian interests. We need an improving military and technical cooperation, including the supply, the lethal weapons, helping us to protect our country from the possible ground huge operation, which Russia, we not exclude that Russia can launch any moment.
As you send potentially Navy ships, your Navy ships back into that area, many will consider that provocative. Are you worried, Mr. President, about where this goes? What is your worst-case scenario with this conflict?
This is a Ukrainian water. Both Ukrainian and Russian water, both Kerch Strait and Azov Sea, and our military vessel, under the law and under the international agreement, do not need to ask any permission or any other form of approval from the Russian Federation, especially when Russia illegally occupied the Crimea. Russia is blocking the freedom of navigation in the Ukrainian territorial water, and now the United States, because we should have a reaction. With that situation, Russian vessel should be blocked for entering to the European or American ports. And we are ready to open the coordination what type of action should be undertaken immediately.
Mr. President, we thank you for your time. The world is watching, and we will continue to follow the story, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for support, Shannon. Happy to be with you. Thanks a lot.